As you've probably noticed in all our previous videos, every movie released nowadays seems to have a tremendous amount of visual effects, even those, like Mad Max Fury Road, that claim to have
very limited amount of CGI.
Actually had 2,000 VFX shots. But why did we believe?
It's completely real.
Which were the VFX shots we missed, and how did they manage to fool us? Well, firstly, they used VFX to augment or subtract from things that they had previously captured practically. For example, Furiosa's arm could have been 100% CG, similar to how they did with Razor Fist's arm in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, or for Bucky Barnes' arm in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But instead, Charlize wore a green sleeve and a prosthetic. This gave her the benefit of being able to use her hand naturally and interact realistically with the objects around her. Next, even though they did build large sets, rigs and set pieces, it wasn't possible, or indeed economically feasible, to build or populate them completely. And so set extensions, digital matte paintings and crowd simulations had to be made to bulk out the sets of almost every scene. For example, the interior shots of the mountain citadel were shot on a physical set, but the exterior environment had to be almost completely CGI. VFX were also used to create things that were impossible to reproduce practically. Like these storms, huge dust clouds and lightning. Or the look of Mad Max's futuristic wasteland, which, even though Namibia came pretty close, it didn't quite have the detail or the colour the director was looking for. Another reason Fury Road's visual effects went unnoticed was because instead of just adding digitally modelled elements, they filmed real elements in front of a green screen and then composited them. You can see this in most of the stunts because, even though they were mainly done practically, rigging still had to be used, and for safety reasons the actors couldn't be present. So the VFX teams had to remove all the rigging and equipment that was necessary to achieve these stunts, like this wheel here, and then film the actors on a soundstage so that they could later be safely composited into the shot. Or they shot the truck while it was stationary and later composited it over a moving background plate, like they did here, and again here, and again here. The death of the People Eater's limousine scene called for a massive explosion and therefore had to be filmed separately with no one else around. And so all the other vehicles that had to surround it, all the stunts that occurred before the explosion, all the swinging polecat stunts and crashing into the fire car were all filmed separately and then composited in the final shot. This may seem like a complicated composition, but it was by no means the most complicated. The most complicated composition was the war rig stunt. Here, the stunt driver had to flip the truck. Next, the doof wagon was shot crashing into it, then all the other elements were shot individually in front of a green screen, and then painstakingly rotoscoped and composited into the final shot. The insistence that every element should be filmed for real was so great that even this dust in the foreground here was actually crushed up drywall dropped from a first floor balcony and filmed at 240 FPS on an iPhone 6. So, you see, Mad Max Fury Road actually had a ton of visual effects, and we didn't notice them. Not only because the majority of elements were caught in camera, as they say, but also because of psychology. If a movie claims to have amazing VFX or incredible CGI, we watch it with a critical eye, never completely trusting in what we see. But if a movie claims to have done it for real, we watch it predisposed to accept and believe that what we see was indeed real.
Push me out. Push me out.
Out a bit. And
Like
then
that.